We're back here with another guitar showcase, and this is with a company that I have wanted to experience for quite a while now. This is from a guitar company out of the Czech Republic called Furch, and this is a limited edition 2024 DCLR edition for this guitar. And there's a number of things that make this particular guitar, and just for guitars in general, very notable, just in terms of innovations that they've kind of done, that you would kind of see more in the ultra high end of boutiques and luthiers here in the States, but significantly less so often with even amongst the higher end Martins, Gibsons, and Taylors of the world. So we're going to kind of take a look at some of those features in here. I think most visually apparent on this guitar is the Bevel Duo System that they have, which isn't necessarily new. A lot of boutiques and luthiers have been doing this for a long time, but it's really cool to see in a guitar at this price point. But you see there is this shoulder bevel here, which means that it's going to be a lot more comfortable, especially on a dreadnought-sized guitar, to just play for longer periods of time because it's rolled off in a very comfortable and ergonomic way. And you also don't only just get that, but you also have one inside on this side of the guitar as you kind of, are leaning into the guitar. This is the rib rest right here too. So that's kind of the duo bevel that they have, the dual bevel. And it's very comfortable as well. I can lean my chest into it and it feels really comfortable, almost like I'm just hugging the guitar. And it feels very ergonomic, very easy to kind of play. And secondarily, although not quite as noticeable from the front of the guitar, on the shoulder closest to the sound hole, you'll notice we have what kind of looks like almost these little slits, these almost like fish gill-like slits in the shoulder of the guitar. And this is what Furch calls their Booster Soundport resonator. And this concept isn't something that's super new. A lot of boutiques and luthiers have a sound port that's more of like a hole in the shoulder of the guitar that kind of punches air straight up at the ear of the player as you're kind of strumming and picking. And it gives a better kind of experience for playing because you're hearing kind of what the listener is hearing out in front of the guitar, but is projecting that sound directly at the ear of the player. And so it's a really cool thing that a lot of higher end luthiers and boutiques have been doing for a while. But what I like is Furch has taken that general idea and kind of modified it and just made it more sleek. Instead of having a gaping hole kind of up on the shoulder of the guitar, it's a little bit more subtle. And other guitars that I've played that have the larger sound port, I also noticed that the amount of sound that it's projecting up at your ear is a little bit more subtle as well, which is kind of a little bit more of kind of like a nice in between the larger sound hole port and no sound port at all, just like you'd kind of be used to on a normal guitar. And so I think that's a really nice touch as well, kind of a nice little add-on for sure. Another very interesting point to make is Furch's CNR system, which stands for Composite Neck Reinforcement, and it deals with how they handle a lot of the humidity change that we know guitars have typically issues with. They've come up with a dual action truss rod system that's encased in a high-grade carbon fiber, which enables the neck to stay very stable. But along with that, they have a solid wood expansion element that's actually active at all times that enables the neck of the guitar to shift its angle automatically when it encounters different changes in humidity. This is also something that you can adjust in the sound hole of the guitar as well if you want to make a small fine-tuned adjustment as well for your action. And so it's a really cool system because you can actually set the angle of the neck yourself. You don't have to rely on a luthier to adjust, the nut and the saddle or even the neck itself to adjust the action, which I think is really cool. I don't know too many guitar companies are actually doing that at the moment, if any. Of course, I would be remiss in not remarking about the quality of build and just materials. I mean, we have got a really high quality Alpine spruce solid top, as well as figured rosewood back and sides, which is just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, that is a stunning grain of wood. Just absolutely gorgeous. Really, really pretty. And then, of course, too, you've got a little bit more subtly, but these block inlays that they have kind of up on player side of the guitar. They've opted, at least on this particular model, to opt for no inlays on the fretboard itself, which is just as well, because I think the fingerboard is just absolutely gorgeous. And I almost feel like inlays would detract away from that a little bit. You also have very high quality tuners as well, which is obviously very important. We've got Gotoh 510s, which are very stable. And I mean, even amongst really high grade tuners, I think these just really turn very easily and smoothly. And so very stable tuners are absolutely paramount on guitars as well. So as we can see, this is a beautiful instrument. Everything from gorgeous Tonewoods, both sounding and visually, to a lot of the innovations they've made with the shoulder bevel, the wrist bevel, and then even their Soundport design, their innovative kind of Soundport design, and just little touches like those inlays and you know, the attention to detail in terms of fretwork and playability. It's a very comfortable guitar, both ergonomic and just fingerboard. It feels really comfortable to play. But I'm sure you're wondering what this guitar actually sounds like. So let's go ahead and dive into what this guitar sounds like. We're going to dive into some examples with different kind of playing styles. And you'll notice that the miking kind of system that I'm doing in here, the reason I do it in just this way is so I can ensure kind of that you kind of experience what I'm experiencing in the room. I've got a microphone over the shoulder, kind of at ear level, that's a ribbon microphone, and I have a condenser, large diaphragm condenser right off the 12th fret, about 12 inches, and it kind of gives the best of both worlds, the over the ear kind of perspective, as well as the ambient perspective you'd expect as a listener. So I think so many times a lot of people will just throw up a mic kind of randomly in the room, and it's kind of hard to get a really good understanding of what the guitar actually sounds like from that perspective. So I love to go one step further and try to make it truly like what you're hearing is what you're hearing in the room, at least as close as we can get to that. So I hope you enjoy these sound examples. Thanks so much for watching this video. It's been so fun to get to experience this guitar and learn a little bit more about Furch's kind of innovations in their guitars. I hope you learned some stuff today in this video, or at least got some value out of being able to hear what the guitar sounds like in a more controlled space. If you enjoy guitar-related content, I have a ton of stuff coming this year all around the guitar. Everything from guitar tutorials and tips and tricks to shootouts of a whole bunch of different guitars and upcoming on the channel. So if you wouldn't mind, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel so you can continue to stay tuned for more upcoming videos. But that's all for me. I will see you in the next video.